Hello, everyone, and welcome to another live stream here on the channel for the Black Hood Crew. I am your host slash chauffeur, BHCxDark. Name is always right there in the corner. And as always, you can follow along on YouTube and Facebook at the Black Hood Crew, and follow along at my name directly on Twitch, Twitter, Steam, Trovo, TikTok, Instagram. So, you may be wondering, why am I sitting here with already these glasses on and my seatbelt? Well, that is because I had a very important appointment that I needed to keep. But because of the timing of this appointment, by the time I finished the appointment, I would not have had enough time to go back home, get myself cleaned up and dressed and ready for work to then be here on time. And as you already know, I hate being late. So I made the executive decision that I would prepare myself accordingly for work, go to this appointment, and upon completing it, immediately drive to work. So I would be extra super early to again not be late. And I am here. So I decided, since I'm already sitting here in the parking lot, I might as well have a chat, and this time completely not distracted. I'm literally parked, backed into a spot. So I am not driving, cars in park, so I'm not going anywhere. Full attention right here. So, as a continuation of conversation from yesterday that I was having with Ring King, if he decides to pop up below, yes, with consoles, it's nice to have that physical copy, like he said yesterday. Having a physical copy makes it easier to let a friend borrow a game, let someone borrow it. It's always nice to have like a physical collection for display purposes, if anything else. And that's all fine and dandy. But, and this only works on Steam as far as I know, if you have Steam, you can share your entire Steam library. That means every game you own, regardless of how many you own, to another authorized person. They can have access. It's called a family view or family share. But what it really is just a library sharing option. Now, there are a couple limitations. One, two people cannot play the same game. So if you are currently playing, say, one game, the person you shared or anybody that you share your library with cannot play that same game. They can play another game in the library, but not the same one. Now, the other limitation is this. If the main user decides to play a game that a shared person is already playing, like let's say they are playing, off the top of my head, Skyrim. Let's say you have a family member, a friend, or somebody currently playing the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, right? If they are currently playing it, you decide, hey, I want to play Skyrim too. The other person, the moment you start Skyrim, will receive a message on their screen saying, save your progress. The main user has come on and decided to play the same game. You have, I think it's like 10, 15 seconds before the game automatically quits, kicks you out. Now, there is one way around this. For games that have multiple versions or the same game, but like for example, Skyrim. You have the original release of Skyrim and all the DLC, eventually being called the Legendary Edition. And then you have the re-release, which has better use of system hardware, called the Special Edition. In Steam, the Legendary Edition and the Special Edition are considered two separate games. They do not share assets. They do not share code. When one is running, the other one can run at the same time. So in that instance, you can play as the account holder can play the special edition, while a family member can play the legendary edition. The same goes for BioShock 1 and 2. They had the initial release, and then they had an updated re-release. They are still considered two separate games, so you can literally play BioShock 1, the enhanced version, while a family member can play the original release. It's still the same game, same features, same everything. The only downside, the only downside is if it's a game that has like where you can play together like multiplayer, not going to work because again, it has to be the same game. So in a way, you can share your games, albeit digitally, to friends and family through Steam. And Steam only, unfortunately, but hopefully the other guys will pick up on this. Or ultimately just say, F it, put their entire library on Steam, and be done with it. And just everybody goes to Steam. Steam is the one and only market for all digital games, regardless of the developer, regardless of who released it, whatever. I don't think that's going to happen, but you never know. So there's that. When it comes to like display pieces, the digital versions of games do offer what is essentially like a digital trophy or digital asset that is not directly involved with the game. Usually it comes in the form of a soundtrack, digital artwork, things of that nature become available to you as a user when you buy, say, a special edition or legendary edition or hero edition or whatever edition of a particular release. Now, in some cases, they do offer you a physical token, something that you can physically touch after you buy the digital version of the game. I do see that in the future, as the world becomes more connected, networked via the internet, and as home consoles inch closer and closer to essentially mimicking a PC environment, personal computing environment, eventually there will be an overlap. And in that particular case, the consoles will disappear. They will be phased out. And going forward, you will only be able to get your hands on personal computers. And as we move forward and find more efficient ways to develop PC hardware, you're going to see the pricing of computer hardware go down. Not only for complete or pre-built PCs, but also the individual components. So let's say you are a PC enthusiast like myself, and you would prefer to build your own machine by picking and choosing compatible parts and assembling it yourself. That would still be a cheap option or a low-cost option. As we start to see gaming consoles become closer and closer to mimicking a computing environment. As far back as the PlayStation 3, when it initially launched, or the first couple models with the earlier versions of the operating system, or the PlayStation OS, or whatever the hell it was called, you had an option under settings for Other OS. Other OS allowed you to partition. That means create a division of your internal hard drive, create a space, a blank space for you to then install an additional operating system. Now, in the case of the PlayStation 3, the only one that was compatible was Linux-based operating systems, which were complete and bootable off a USB drive. So we're talking about like Ubuntu, Kali Linux, ones that that didn't require you to run the code from the jump. It was already pre-built. You already had a graphical user interface. That's graphical user GUI, as it would be pronounced, graphical user interface, right from the get-go. I actually tried this out myself, and I was able to install Ubuntu Linux onto my PlayStation 3 and run not only the operating system, but run an emulator on the actual operating system. So I was able to run, albeit in a limited fashion, a Super Nintendo emulator through Ubuntu on the PlayStation 3. This required no hardware modification, not even hacking the console. This was literally a feature built into the operating system, built into the PlayStation OS, that it gave this feature. Now, they eventually phased out that option because people found a way to use that second partition, that Linux partition, to ultimately hack the PlayStation 3 and have backdoor access to the code and run pirated software, a custom OS, and just completely open up the console. I did not do that because I had updated past that point. It never interested me to hack my PlayStation 3. However, because of the nature of personal computers, people are going to, again, start to move toward that platform. Because, at the end of the day, gaming consoles, and I'm talking about all of them, are just specialized computers that are just designed to do maybe a handful of things. Primarily playing games, obviously. But they also do minor things. The messaging, maybe a little, web browsing, stuff like that you'll be able to do on a console. But a PC can do all of that and more. And in most cases do it more efficiently than the console can. Plus, it allows for greater customization. No two desktops are alike. There's always a different application list, wallpaper, icons, mouse cursors, the case themselves, RGB lighting if you're into that. No two PCs are alike, especially because there are so many different people in the world. Even two people in the same house with the same hardware would still have two vastly different computing environments. So, I definitely see a future where there's only going to be computers in the home. You want to play a game? There's the computer for that. You want to do word processing? Go to the computer. You want to check your email? The computer. You want to do this? You'll go to the computer. You want to do anything that has to do with any kind of digital work or entertainment, you're going to go to the computer. And you will no longer have a home console that is dedicated just for playing games. In fact, I think the only one that might be the last holdout before they ultimately transition will be Nintendo. The first one to fold will probably be the Xbox. It'll be the first one to fold, the first one to be phased out, as PC will eventually become the number one platform and will grow going forward. I do see the Xbox being the first to fold, PlayStation not too long after, and then dragging it out, as always, will be Nintendo. I do not foresee anybody trying to get into the console game, especially now with the scarcity of materials and hardware, especially when it comes to building and assembling and running consoles. PCs are a different story because the components are universal. You can find motherboards everywhere. You can find processors everywhere, RAM, hard drives everywhere. It all comes down on what you plan on using your computer for. And then there's where you either find a pre-built that suits your needs, or if you know more what you're doing, you build the damn thing yourself. So ultimately, I do see a future where computers will be the number one gaming platform and home consoles will phase out. All games going forward will only have digital releases. No more hard releases, no more hard case games, no more CDs, no more DVDs. Blu-ray discs as they're being used now. Going forward, other new types of disc-based media will all be phased out in the future as we move, as well as the internet becoming faster and faster and faster. There's a point now where some places in the world don't just get gigabit internet; they get 10 gigabit internet, 50 gig internet, 50 gig internet. Even here in the U.S., I think NASA has their network is like at 100 gigabytes, maybe more, of actual transfer speed, both download and upload. If I was to get 100 gigabyte upload and download to my house, I would have zero ping concept. I would never have any network slowdown. It would be impossible to have it. Like a 100 gigabit network connection would actually make my computer run faster than it actually does. And I actually have gigabit internet at home. So, yeah, if I had that kind of internet speed, I would do everything. I would host multiple game servers just for the hell of it, just because I can. I would personally host GTA 5 servers, Among Us servers, Valheim servers for every damn game. I would even resurrect older game servers. Like, I would run RuneScape just cause if I had that kind of network speed, 100 gigabit internet, I would run every server I could possibly can. I would have to specifically build a room in my house just to run servers. Turn it into a personalized icebox. I would probably go to like a broken down cheesecake factory or something. Am I using Ethernet or Wi-Fi? So, RingKing85 has joined down below. The question is, am I running Ethernet or Wi-Fi? I actually run both. Very few devices, well, most of the devices in my home connect via Wi-Fi. My phone, my laptop, there's a smart TV in the house, my Amazon Fire TV, those run on the Wi-Fi. But my actual main desktop where I do all my gaming, my streaming, all of that stuff, that is only Ethernet connected. I also have a second PC. If you didn't know, I do have a second PC sitting right next to it. That is my streaming machine. My streaming software, webcam, microphone, all of that runs off a second machine that is also networked with an Ethernet cable. In fact, I have set up a switch, simple 5-port switch, specifically for that purpose. So I can have both of these machines hooked up to the same hard network that few other devices are actually hardwired into. Everything else is wireless. Actually, I do plan on moving out on my own, so I will not have other people using my network. But I do plan on keeping the gigabit speed, because imagine if I get crazy fast internet, crazy fast connection, and I'm sharing it with other people and it's still very fast. Imagine if it was just me by myself, right? In fact, if I do that, I plan on resetting my Valheim server. For anybody that plays that, they just got the Midlands update recently, so I plan on jumping into that again. But yeah, so yeah, I definitely see a future where as the speed of internet increases and it gets more available to everybody, home consoles will phase out, PCs will be the number one gaming platform for everyone. All games will be released digital only. on there. Yes, if I wanted to view content in 4K, I would, but then it would be dependent on my monitor. I do not own a 4K TV at this moment in time. Everything is just standard HD, which is fine for the moment. I do plan on doing upgrades in the future. I don't have their highest speed. I have just their entry level gigabit speed, which I think it's like 1200 megabits per second. That's what I got. And it works perfectly. It's great. It's incredibly fast. It's a little bit on the pricey side. You would be paying about 140, 150 bucks with all the equipment included. But you're offsetting by getting ridiculous speeds. So, gotta pick and choose, you know what I mean? So anyway, like I said, I'm already here at work. I'm gonna go ahead and start getting ready so I can be early again to work. I will be back on tomorrow night for Apex Legends. I will be playing from home on my incredibly fast network. So expect me tomorrow night here on the channel for the Black Hood Crew, YouTube and Facebook. My name directly on Twitch, Twitter, Steam, Trovo, TikTok, Instagram. So until tomorrow night, 9 p.m. for Apex Legends, be safe, be smart, and be excellent to each other.